everyone, Dylan from the Smart Economy Podcast. We are on day one of Consensus 2024. I'm speaking with Levi Pelikan.
Yes, good to meet you.
I'm actually going to do a fist bump because I just got some stitches on my hand. But Levi's here with Ampera, which is a grassroots community built around payment solutions in the Web3 and blockchain space. So I'm sure there's a lot more to what you guys are working on. Can you, from your perspective, tell me what it is you're doing and what got you so excited to be here today representing Ampera?
Well, what got me so excited was actually this gives a use case to crypto. I actually can go buy coffee with my Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. I do it daily at Dunkin' Donuts. And that's the cool thing, and that's part of what we're doing here. We're actually showcasing various other payment options. This entire Mustang was part of a giveaway, and the people at BitPay, Dash, Flexa, POAP, Zashi, and Zcash all helped out to basically make this a reality. And that is what we're doing, is we're just making digital payments normal. Mm-hmm. To me, the funny part about the whole digital payments, because I use Flexa a lot, people are always like, well, why don't you post more about it? Why don't you show more of it? And I'm like, at this point, it's just so boring to me because it's my everyday life. But yes, we're just here to help spread the message and make Bitcoin more useful, in my opinion.
So one of the things about Ampera is it's kind of born out of Flexa. So can you just Eli 5 or just give me a quick 30-second pitch on what Flexa is, and then kind of zoom out and say what the need that Ampera is building out of what Flexa is?
Yeah, so what Flexa is, they're a company based in New York, heavily regulated. And their entire model is to help promote digital payments, but with merchants. And what we're doing here at Ampera is basically getting people, everyday people like me and you, to learn more about it, to actually try it out, and use various other options. So yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Started out with Flexa and then slowly just kept on growing and just turned out into Ampera and the Future Anvil protocol, which we talked about earlier too. Yeah.
So another line I want to draw out is something why I was really excited to have you come talk on the podcast is you were the crypto skeptic.
Yeah.
You could not find a use case.
No.
So can you just kind of walk through what was that moment when you were like, oh my gosh, there is a there, and kind of what was it for you? Why was it payments? Why was it Flexa? What was your skepticism, and how did you take the orange pill, if you will?
We will go through a very quick and dirty version of this. As we all know, the dark web, Bitcoin back in the day, it was $5, $8 a Bitcoin. I tried to figure out how to use Bitcoin, couldn't understand it because there wasn't a whole lot out there. It was very difficult to use. Fast forward to 2017 and that big old bubble that happened, people were telling me Bitcoin's for payments, Bitcoin's for payments. Number one question I asked is, how many payments can it do per second? And when I heard how low that was, I'm like, that'll never be used mass adoption. That's such a tiny, tiny amount. And basically I was sort of new to retail in the 2020, 2021 era, and just started looking at what was available in Gemini because I wanted the most regulated exchange. And then I looked through all these tokens and saw AMP, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. It's a low price, so let's look more into it. And I read the white paper, and it made sense. It just how they can collateralize transactions to enable instant authorization at a merchant level, and they haven't lost a dollar yet. So that was sort of what brought me to this point. I wanted to actually find a real world use case, because as much as we talk about DeFi and lending and all this, it's not going to be mass adoption for just that. It's going to have to be retail, the boots on the ground, people actually using it daily for mass adoption.
And something that I thought was really cool when we were talking earlier is the purpose of the AMP token. So for someone who stakes an AMP token, they basically put up the collateral in between the time that a transaction's done. So could you just high level walk me through what the purpose of the AMP token is and how it serves a role when I'm buying ice cream at Baskin-Robbins or coffee at Starbucks?
Yeah, we can go over that. So basically the AMP token was created to be almost like a universal collateral type deal. So that way they could actually decentralize the risk. All payments, like credit cards get hacked and all this. And that's sort of, you have to have that collateral for the decentralized risk. Thankfully with Flex's patents, it's never been hacked, they've never lost a dollar. And when you go in, you generate a When you go into a store, you generate a QR code on your Spedin app. They scan that, it instantly authorizes the payments, it's settled on the back end. But in case something were to happen on chain where the payment doesn't go through, then that's when the AMP token will be liquidated. If it's not liquidated, then the merchant fee, which is less than 1%, gets sent back to the stakers through an APY. And there's also a network development fund that's been tapering off, so we'll start to see more of the real APY of how much it's being actually used.
And you mentioned that the merchant fee is 1%. How is this competing with credit card companies?
Oh, easily. I said less than 1%. But yes, credit card companies are like 2 to 3%, sometimes 4%. I know, for example, here at Consensus, there's a couple, I think we talked about this, the on-ramp and off-ramp companies, and some of them are charging like 5% to do that. So yeah, it's way cheaper, they save on credit card fees. It just makes sense to me, especially with the zero fraud. Nothing's truly fraud-proof in life, like someone could always take my phone and go use it, but I've tried many times to find a way to hack Flexa or anything that I could try to break the system, and I just can't.
Yeah, so kind of like zooming out and wrapping up, one of the things I also really appreciated about chatting with you earlier is this is your first crypto event ever.
Yes.
So what is your perspective of Consensus 2024 and of an in-person crypto event, and did it meet up to or not exceed or not live up to any of your preconceived notions?
No, it actually lived up to all my notions. I've been following this for a while, from the sidelines, because I never really wanted to go out to it, and then just slowly kept on building up, and I was like, okay, I have to go now. But yeah, I mean, it's a great conference. I love it here. The only thing I would say is I'm running on 4 hours of sleep, so, and I've been here since like 9 a.m., so yeah, it's been a bit of a rough day. But yeah, it's just a great time, and I hope to come back next year.
Love it. Thanks for your time, Levi, and thanks for being sleep deprived and chatting with us.
Yes, thank you for the interview. It was great.
Anybody who wants to see any more of our interviews from Consensus 2024, head over to the Neo News Today YouTube page. And of course, if you want to hear any of our full-length podcasts, head over to www.smarteconomypodcast.com.